once you tell someone you're going to go to the moon and you're going to settle down there, every time they ask you the same question, which is, how are you going to grow the food on the moon? Now, imagine when someone asks you that question, in my opinion, first of all, that's the wrong question to ask. Because when you ask that question, the only solution is to find a way to grow the food on the moon. Now, imagine if you can change that question and ask, why do we eat food? Think about it for a second. Why we eat food? It sounds really silly, but once you start think about why we eat food, the only reason we eat food is because we need energy and we need nutrition. Now, we know you can get energy from many different ways. Today, the plants can get energy from photosynthesis, right? So what if we can take the genetic material from the plants and actually use photosynthesis to get energy for ourselves? Now, second thing is, we know there are several types of bacteria who grow in the radioactive nuclear waste. That means not only they have figured out how to protect their DNA from very high radiation, they have also figured out how to use the radiation as a source of energy to survive and thrive. Now, what if we could take a genetic material from these bacterial species, use CRISPR to modify our own genes? Suddenly, you actually start to get the radiation as a source of energy. So in the evening, instead of going and say, honey, you want to go for dinner, you say, honey, do you want to go out for a walk and get some radiation? And that becomes a source of energy. And the second part may be nutrition. Now, what type of nutrition do we need? Now, let's assume you need hydrogen, you need oxygen, you need nitrogen. Now, there's plenty of water on the moon. That means you already have H2O. That means you already got the hydrogen and oxygen. Now comes the part of, say, potentially nitrogen. Now, the only reason, if you want to live on the moon, is to find the nitrogen on the moon or take plenty of nitrogen to actually produce on the moon. And that's literally, that means now the problem, as opposed to being impossible or very difficult, now is a very bound problem of what would it take for someone to solve that problem. And that is a one way of looking at solving a massively difficult problem by breaking it down into the components. And the way you break it down into component is by asking a different question.